Let's build a presentation sheet up for submittal. So I'm going to go to Sheets. I already have a 3D view right now of our model, and I might use that. I'm going to go to Sheets. Oops, try to. Go to Sheets. Right-click for New. And mine is my presentation. But if I was to load it, I would just click Load and then go find it. And that's good. So now I have a presentation sheet. And let's just take a minute now and think about this 3D view. This is a 3D view I'm proposing. If I was to click on the crop box and go to the site view, you can see the angle. This is typical what I produce as far as an angle of a building. I'm always on the same side, probably because I'm left-handed. The two sides of this building are solid. You know, it's anticipated that they're either fronting other buildings or, you know, they are just, you know, well established to be the back sides of the building as far as siting going. So this is predominantly the view that the building was kind of designed for, or the perspective, at least the best perspective. And if we go to that view, if you set that view up, as a matter of fact, I could just delete this view and we could just reset it up again. So I'm at the floor plan view, or excuse me, I'm at the site plan, and I'm going to go to View and grab the dog. Oh, excuse me, I didn't mean to do that. I don't think I can get out of that. Let me just close that down a minute. Back to the site view, grab the camera, and like I said, I'm going to step off from the building a ways. I'm picking this. If I go very far away, it will look less dramatic. If I go too close, it'll be overly dramatic. So I'm going to try to pick this kind of moderate distance. And there's our view. And I'm just going to pull it back. I'm not really going to try to move the camera or do anything yet, because I think actually this is a pretty good view. You'll notice that my perspective and eye elevation are at 23 feet 6 inches. So it's really up above the ground. It's kind of like I've started to lift off with a drone, but it really does create a nice, I think a nice view. So with that in mind, let's go ahead. We can use the R3 rendering. I'll go ahead and apply that. And the only thing that's really disturbing about this whole thing is just kind of like the difference between the floor plan and the rest of the ground plan. We're not trying to, you know, really create any kind of context here around it, other than I placed one of the entourage people to give a sense of scale. So let's go ahead and use this as one of the views. What I might do is I might just try to hide this in view, the floor plate. So I'll just hide that element. And that's a little too severe. So one of the other fixes would be to darken up the ground plane. So if I was to go to R1, and I want to select this as none now, and that takes away the rendering, and then if I, or the rendering template, and then if I went to the graphic display options, I might be able to, go to the background and set the ground color and really just pull that down darker. So I'm going to try and pick a, and you can see that's still not dark enough, so we really want to go way down with it. And conversely, it could be, there we go. So that's just a little less severe about the difference between those two. And I could actually save that as that template if we wanted to. As a matter of fact, what I'll do is I'm going to go back to this now, just so we can get in a habit of understanding this. I'm going to save this rendering that we just created as R2. So we could make it match if we needed to. So I'll say OK with that. And now if we establish that R2, it'll stay all the same here because that's the settings we have for this. So let's go ahead and drag this onto the sheet. So I'm going to go to the sheet we set up, and we'll pull this on. Maybe I need to try that again. I'm not, oh, I see, I've in 3D views. Actually, this is a good chance. I'm going to just rename this one right away. This is a 3D view we just worked on. corner view. And I want to go through this. At the end of this, I'll put a shorter video in for those that want to skip over this stuff if you've already become so familiar with it. So I'm just going to scale this up. Let's figure we've got to go maybe to 14 inches. I'm going to just guess and apply on that. And that looks pretty good. So now we have a feature image. And I just want to make sure that the crop box is off. And then we'll put a couple of more images on here. And I'm also noticing the title blocks, so I've got to drag this off and drag it back on again. And let's get one at grade level maybe, just to give a feeling for what's going on there. Well, we could pull a few views. So let's go back to the site, and let's see if we can't get a close-up view. So I'm going to go to View, Camera, and we'll shoot maybe this way with the person. So now we're very close to the building, and I'm not catching the person, mostly because we're at too much of an elevation. Let me set this for 6 feet. And you can see how that gets severe right away. So let's just leave it cropped tight like that. I don't exactly like the way these are rendering, but you know, that just gives a good idea. If I zoom extends here, that just gives a good idea of the scale of our facade or our podium area with respect to a person. So we'll call this a street view. Okay, and I want to turn the crop region off so I don't get that little annoying line around it. And we'll go ahead and drag that onto the sheet. And it's nice and small. And let's grab maybe a view up at this area on the top here. So let's pick, let's see, we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, level 4. And let's see if we can't, maybe actually what we'll do is we'll place a person up there. And we'll do a camera view. Kind of setting the table for, or the idea that that might be an outdoor area. And we quickly render it. We'll give it the R2 rendering. I really don't like the way it renders the glass, though. That really bothers me. But that's a good start. We probably could, if we were really into it, we could do the ray tracing of this. That would really help. I'm going to modify that. And we'll just rename this patio. And actually, I did want to get one other view on. Let's actually shrink this one down a little bit. I'm going to go to size crop, scale, and let's go to, I don't know, maybe 14 inches this way. Delete that. I'm trying to not put an extra sheet on. So let's go to and drag corner view back on again. And I'm thinking we'll put these two up here. This one needs to be a bit larger. So it's 5 inches high now. So maybe let's just try 7 inches. Nope. How about 5.5? Oops. Boy, I'm really missing there. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Delete that and drag it back on again. And I did want to get that south elevation on because I thought that looked really cool. And it's huge. So let's take it down in scale. Maybe have it hit apply. We're still off the sheet a little bit, so let's just fix it up by clicking into it and changing these kind of our markers here. I don't know why our line is so far over here, and I don't know, maybe I can just correct that easily this way. All right, and I just tweak this up a little bit. Okay, so a couple of alternate views, the model view, and then a south elevation rendered in hidden line with some shadow on it, and I've left some space for a narrative. So that's, I think, and I'm going to get rid of this crop line here. It still looks like it's there. Try again. Okay, so that would be minimums for submittal. If you're inspired, can get some better views, great. I'd love to see them. It's always more entertaining to grade papers that have a little bit of innovation in it.